All right, let's dive into some self-improvement wisdom today.
Sounds good to me.
We're taking on how to improve yourself every day. 20 ways to be better.
Ooh, I like this one.
It's from BetterUp, that coaching platform.
Yeah,
20 ways, that's a lot.
it is a lot, yeah.
But the author, Kate Vessel, is a certified coach. So she knows her stuff, right?
No, sure.
Let's see what we can find.
I think what's interesting about this article is that, it kind of flips the script
Oh,
on this whole go, go, go mentality with self-improvement.
okay.
It actually starts by advocating for rest.
Really? I'm all for that. But
Yeah.
isn't that a little counterintuitive?
You might think so, but
Well.
think of it like this. Rest is the foundation.
Okay.
Just like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you can't build the self-actualization penthouse suite without a solid ground floor, right?
Right.
Those basic needs. And that includes sleep.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard to improve yourself when you're running on fumes.
Exactly. And you know what? There's research from UW Medicine that shows that rest can actually boost your brain power.
Really?
Yeah, think like improved focus, attention, even a surge in creativity, all essential for leveling up.
Totally.
Yeah.
I know I'm way more productive after a good night's sleep.
For sure.
But, okay, so let's say you're rested and ready to go. What does this article say for actually expanding your mind?
Well, you might be surprised by this. It suggests diving into a good book,
Okay.
and even fiction. The idea is that by stepping into different characters' shoes, you gain new perspectives and flex those empathy muscles.
I don't know if I agree with it. I mean, all fiction building empathy.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about those thrillers that just glorify, like, bad behavior?
Yeah, not all fiction is created equal, for sure.
Right.
I think it's about choosing stories that challenge your worldview and help you see things from different angles.
Okay, yeah.
And if reading isn't your thing, the article also mentions podcasts and videos.
Okay, that's more my speed. But I have to admit, sometimes I get so caught up in, like, consuming information that I forget to appreciate what I already have.
Right.
Does the article address that at all?
Absolutely, it does.
Oh, good.
It highlights the power of a daily gratitude practice.
Okay.
And, studies have actually shown it can genuinely shift your perspective.
Really?
Yeah, and boost your mental well-being.
Wow.
Even just noticing small joys.
Oh, yeah. I recently started appreciating those 5 minutes of quiet I get before everybody else wakes up in the house.
Yes.
It's totally changed my mornings.
That's fantastic. That's a great example. And if you're looking to make gratitude a regular habit, the article suggests journaling.
Oh, journaling.
Yeah.
I tried that once, and it felt like I was talking to a brick wall.
I hear you. It can be awkward at first.
Yeah.
But try starting small. Just jot down 3 things you're grateful for each day.
Okay.
No need to write a novel.
Right.
And just remember, it's a judgment-free zone. Just let your thoughts and feelings flow onto the page. Okay.
And studies in mental health show that this kind of free-flowing journaling can significantly increase your well-being and resilience.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got rest, gratitude. What other brain-boosting tips does this article have up its sleeve?
Well, it suggests picking up a new language.
Oh, that's a good one. I've always wanted to learn Italian.
That's awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's not just about stimulating your brain. It also opens up this whole new world, right?
Right.
Of connection and understanding. And let's be practical. It can be a huge plus for your career, too.
It's true. It is. It's one of those self-improvement efforts with real-world benefits.
Yeah.
And speaking of rewiring your brain, the article also talks about meditation.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's talking about meditation these days.
Right.
But there's a good reason for it.
Okay.
Research has shown that it can seriously impact your mental health, especially when it comes to anxiety, depression, and stress.
And beyond that, it increases your self-awareness, which is crucial for any type of personal growth.
Okay, so we've covered the mind. What about the body?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's not all meditation and gratitude?
Of course not. The article emphasizes the importance of nourishing your body with healthy food.
Okay.
And get this, plain water.
Really?
Yeah, apparently studies have linked drinking plain water to a decreased risk of anxiety and depression.
Wow, that is surprising. Who knew good old H2O could be such a mood booster?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that sometimes the simplest things can make a big difference. But for those of us who are, always on the go, the article suggests exploring options like meal kits
Oh, yeah.
or even healthy catering services.
Those meal kits are a lifesaver, especially when I'm feeling stressed.
They can be. It's all about finding solutions that fit your lifestyle, right?
Right.
And speaking of fitting things in, we can't forget about movement.
I knew you were going to say that. What's the article's take on exercise?
Well, it highlights research from the CDC.
About the amazing benefits of physical activity.
Hmm.
Feeling better, functioning better, and sleeping better. And it doesn't have to mean hitting the gym every day.
Oh, good, because that's not happening.
Right. The article emphasizes that it's about finding what works for you, whether it's structured exercise, a quick walk, or even just stretching throughout the day.
Okay.
Small movements add up.
That makes me feel better. I can definitely commit to some stretching. But let's be honest, even with all the rest, the healthy eating and exercise in the world, sometimes life just feels draining.
I hear you. And that's where the article's take on energy management comes in. It suggests taking a close look at your daily activities
Okay.
and identifying what drains your energy versus what energizes you.
That energy audit idea is brilliant. I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, once you've identified those energy zappers, the article encourages you to replace them with activities that bring you joy and fulfillment.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is starting to sound like a major life overhaul. I'm not sure I'm ready for that. It doesn't have to be drastic, you know? Small changes can make a big difference. And remember, it's about prioritizing what truly matters to you.
Okay, that's reassuring. So how do we figure out what truly matters? Where do we even begin?
That's where things get really interesting. The article introduces this concept of inner work.
Inner work.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might sound intimidating, but think of it like this. Checking in with your values.
Okay.
You know, do your daily actions reflect what you truly believe in?
Oh, that's deep. I'm going to need a moment to process that one.
Take your time. Inner work is about self-reflection and understanding your core values. It can be a powerful tool for self-improvement.
So it's not just about external changes, it's about internal shifts as well.
Exactly. It's about aligning your actions with your beliefs and creating a life that feels authentic and meaningful.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. It's not just a random list of tips. It's a holistic approach to self-improvement.
You got it. It's about creating a life that feels good on the inside and the outside.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay, my brain is officially buzzing with all these self-improvement strategies.
That's great.
But before we get too far ahead,
Sure.
let's go back to something you said earlier, that whole thing about replacing draining activities with fulfilling ones. How do we actually do that?
Well, I think it starts with being honest with yourself about what truly brings you joy.
Okay.
You know, what activities make you feel energized and alive.
That's a good question. I guess I'd have to really pay attention to how I feel throughout the day.
Exactly. It's about tuning in to your energy levels and noticing what depletes you versus what replenishes you.
Okay.
And once you have a better understanding of that, then you can start making conscious choices
Okay.
to prioritize those activities that light you up.
You're making me realize that I spend way too much time scrolling through social media, which is definitely a drain.
Yeah, that's a common one.
Maybe I could replace some of that with, I don't know, painting. I used to love that.
There you go. That's a perfect example.
Okay. And you might be surprised by how much energy and motivation you gain by simply reducing those draining activities. It frees up space for the things that truly matter.
Speaking of freeing up space, the article also talks about the importance of setting boundaries. And that's something I really struggle with.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be really hard to say no, especially when you want to please others.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's an act of self-care. It's about protecting your time and energy so you can show up as your best self.
I guess it's like saying yes to yourself.
Exactly.
But how do you actually set those boundaries? Any tips from the Better Up article?
Well, it suggests starting by identifying your non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables, okay.
What are the things that are absolutely essential for your well-being?
Mm-hmm.
That might be, you know, getting enough sleep, spending time with loved ones, or pursuing a creative hobby.
Right.
Once you've identified those non-negotiables, then you can start setting boundaries around them.
So if someone asks me to do something that would, like, cut into my me time, my non-negotiable me time,
Yeah.
I should politely decline.
Exactly. And it's okay to be firm.
Okay.
You don't have to over-explain yourself or apologize. Simply state your boundary and move on.
Easier said than done.
I know, right?
But I'm willing to give it a try. You know, this whole conversation is reminding me that self-improvement is about so much more than just achieving goals. It's about creating a life that feels good inside and out.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And The Better Up article really seems to echo that sentiment. It emphasizes this interconnectedness
Oh,
of all these self-improvement strategies.
yeah.
It's not about checking off boxes, it's about creating this synergistic approach where all these elements work together to support your overall well-being.
You mentioned earlier how rest and movement can actually work together to boost your energy levels.
Yeah.
What are some other examples of this interconnectedness?
Well, think about gratitude and kindness.
Okay, yeah.
Practicing gratitude can make you more aware of the good in your life, which can then inspire you to be more kind and compassionate towards others.
Mm,
And those acts of kindness, in turn, can boost your own happiness and well-being.
it's a beautiful cycle.
It is.
Yeah,
It
I'm
is.
starting to see how everything's connected, like a ripple effect.
Exactly. And that's what makes self-improvement so fascinating. It's not about isolating different aspects of your life. It's about integrating them
Okay.
into a cohesive whole.
We talked about the power of reading to expand your mind,
Mm-hmm.
but the article also mentions something about spending time outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the connection there?
Well, what's fascinating is the research they cite.
Okay.
It turns out that spending time in nature can significantly reduce those negative emotions like anxiety, fatigue, and even depression.
Really?
Yeah, just 15 minutes in a forest can make a huge difference.
Wow, that's incredible. But what about those of us who don't have a forest in our backyard?
That's a valid point, but the article offers alternative solutions like bringing plants into your home, getting some sunlight, or even listening to nature sounds.
Right.
It's about finding ways to connect with nature, even in small doses.
I'm all for that. I definitely feel more relaxed after a walk in the park.
Sure.
But speaking of connecting, the article also highlights the importance of nurturing those positive relationships.
Yeah.
How does that fit into the self-improvement puzzle?
Well, strong, supportive relationships are essential for our well-being.
Right.
They provide us with a sense of belonging, love, and connection, which can be incredibly empowering and motivating on our self-improvement journey.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
But sometimes those relationships can also be a source of, stress and drama.
That's true.
Mm.
And that's why the article also touches on the importance of setting boundaries in relationships.
Right.
It's about creating healthy dynamics where everyone feels respected and supported.
I'm noticing a theme here. Boundaries are important.
They are.
Yeah.
And they're not just about saying no. Okay.
They're also about being clear about your needs and expectations.
Okay, so we've covered relationships. What about that whole goal-setting aspect of self-improvement?
Right.
Does this article offer any unique insights there?
It does. It emphasizes the importance of setting smart goals. So those are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay, got it.
But what's really interesting is their emphasis on tracking your progress and holding yourself accountable.
Mm,
It's easy to set goals and then just kind of let them fall by the wayside, but having a system in place can make all the difference.
I'm a big believer in accountability, whether it's a friend, a coach, or even just a journal where you track your progress. Having that external support can really help.
For sure.
You stay motivated.
Absolutely. And the article also acknowledges something that I think a lot of us struggle with, and that's the fear of failure.
Ugh, yes, that fear can be so paralyzing.
It can.
Yeah.
It can keep us stuck in our comfort zones.
So the article offers some strategies for overcoming that fear. One suggestion is to shift your focus
Okay.
from potential failure to potential success.
Okay.
Imagine what could happen if you actually achieve your goal.
That's a powerful reframe.
Okay.
It's about focusing on the positive possibilities rather than getting bogged down by the what-ifs.
Exactly.
But even if you do experience setbacks, the article says to view them as learning opportunities rather than failures.
Yeah, it's all about adopting that growth mindset, embracing challenges as a chance to learn and grow. And that brings us back to that concept of energy management we talked about earlier.
Right. Remember the energy audit.
Yeah.
Identifying those activities that drain us versus those that energize us.
Exactly. The article takes that a step further and suggests replacing those draining activities with fulfilling ones. It's about prioritizing joy, making conscious choices to spend your time and energy on things that light you up,
Okay.
that make you feel alive.
And that might mean saying no to things that don't align with your values or goals. Remember those boundaries we were talking about.
It's all connected. Saying no to the things that drain you creates space for the things that energize you. And that is a recipe for self-improvement.
I love that. It's like clearing out the clutter to make room for the good stuff. And all this talk about energy and boundaries and prioritizing joy, it makes me think about the concept of self-care.
Self-care, the cornerstone of well-being.
Right.
And you're right, it is woven throughout all of these tips, whether it's getting enough rest, nourishing your body, setting boundaries, or spending time doing things you love. Self-care is essential for showing up as your best self.
It's like filling up your own cup so you can pour from it freely.
Love that.
And the article seems to suggest that self-care isn't just about bubble baths and face masks.
It's about so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's about making conscious choices to prioritize your physical, mental, and emotional well-being,
Okay.
and recognizing that self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary.
So true. And speaking of necessary, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on these last few tips from the article.
Okay, yeah.
We've talked about inner work, volunteering, nurturing relationships.
Yeah.
What else is there? Oh, right. There's one more that I think is particularly relevant for our listeners
Yeah.
who are on a self-improvement journey,
Yeah.
and that is working with a coach.
Ah, yes. Coaching can be such a powerful tool for personal growth. It provides support, accountability, and guidance as you navigate the often challenging path of self-improvement.
And the article specifically mentions BetterUp, the coaching platform that published this article. It makes sense that they would highlight the benefits of coaching,
Right?
but I think it's a valuable suggestion nonetheless.
Absolutely. A coach can act as a sounding board, a cheerleader, and a guide, helping you identify your strengths, overcome obstacles, and achieve your goals.
And it's not just about achieving specific goals. It's about the journey itself. It's about becoming more self-aware, more resilient, more confident in your ability to create the life you want.
And that, my friend, is the ultimate goal of self-improvement. It's not about reaching some finish line. It's about embracing that ongoing process of growth and transformation.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, and I'm feeling inspired. What about you? What are some key takeaways that are resonating with you?
Well, for me, it's this reminder that self-improvement is a holistic endeavor.
Yo,
It's about taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. It's about nourishing yourself from the inside out.
I love that. It's about creating a life that feels aligned, authentic, and joyful.
And it's a journey that's unique to each individual. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I encourage you to reflect on the tips we've discussed and see what sparks your interest. What are you going to try this week?
And remember, even small changes can have a big impact over time. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and enjoy the journey.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into self-improvement.
We have.
It's amazing how all these tips
I know, right?
really come together,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to create this like bigger picture of well-being.
It is fascinating, isn't it? It's not just like a checklist. It's about understanding how these different aspects of our lives
Yeah.
influence each other.
You know, one thing that keeps coming up for me is this idea of being intentional with our choices.
Hmm.
Whether it's, about what we eat, how we move, or even who we spend our time with. It seems like conscious decision-making is at the heart of it all.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's about moving away from autopilot and really tuning in to what we want our lives to look like,
Yeah.
And then making choices that align with that vision.
And that takes courage, right?
It does.
Because sometimes those choices mean saying no to things that we've always done or that other people expect of us.
Absolutely. It can be challenging to break out of old patterns and step outside of our comfort zones.
Right.
But, growth happens when we challenge ourselves.
We talked about the fear of failure earlier. It seems like a lot of self-improvement boils down to facing that fear.
I think that's a really insightful observation. Whether it's trying something new, setting a big goal, or even just saying no to something we don't want to do,
Yeah.
There's always a risk involved, but there's also the potential for huge reward.
And that's where that growth mindset comes in.
Right.
It's about viewing those challenges as opportunities for learning and growth rather than as threats to our egos.
Exactly. It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns and trusting that we'll come out stronger on the other side.
This whole conversation has really highlighted for me that self-improvement isn't about becoming perfect.
It's no.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Well said. It's about striving to be the best versions of ourselves, knowing that, best is always evolving.
And that journey is different for everyone. What works for one person might not work for another.
Absolutely. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. So it's about finding what resonates with you, what aligns with your values,
Mhm.
and what brings you joy.
It is.
And being kind to ourselves along the way. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and forget to celebrate our wins, no matter how small.
Yeah. Self-compassion is crucial. We're all works in progress.
Right.
And the more we can embrace our imperfections and celebrate our efforts, the more fulfilling our self-improvement journeys will be.
I am feeling so much more inspired and empowered after this deep dive.
Me too.
What about you? What's
Yeah.
your biggest takeaway?
I think what resonates most with me is the reminder that self-improvement is a lifelong journey. It's not a destination.
Right.
It's about continuous learning, growth, and evolution. And, that's something to be excited about.
So true. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought from the Better Up article.
Okay.
Self-improvement is about embracing the process of continuous learning and growth, becoming more aware of ourselves and our potential.
Beautifully said. So keep exploring, keep learning, keep growing, and remember you have the power to create the life you want.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the 20 ways to be better every day. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and inspiration for your own journey. Until next time, keep striving, keep thriving, and keep being the amazing humans you are.